All right, today we are going to take some of our garden herbs that we grew over the summer and have dried, and we are going to store them for winter. Now, if you haven't tried growing your own garden herbs, I highly recommend it. You just get so much more flavor, and there's so much more variety of herbs that are available to you when you grow them yourself that it just, if you have any sort of culinary inkling, it's going to be like a world changer for you. I always used to joke that I farmed because I loved to eat. Well, I also grow herbs because I love to eat, and one of my new favorite herbs is garden sage. I never really ate it growing up, but it has been such a unique herb and a unique flavor to add to dishes, and I'm really excited to be able to have it over the winter. Now, this amount of sage is from one plant. I just went to the local nursery, got a plant, planted in my garden, was able to use the sage all summer long, and then when it got to be, the end of the season when it might frost out, I just harvested the rest of it and I put it in my Nesco Snack Master dehydrator. It comes with, I think, 5 trays, and then you can buy an extra 2, so like a max of 7 trays. I personally don't have space to have a whole bunch of drying racks for all the herbs that I want. And I have animals, so I don't want the herbs contaminated with the animals. And so a dehydrator is a great compromise for me. And so you can see that this amount of herbs from one plant will be enough for you to be able to have a nice supply for the whole winter. And maybe 2 plants would give you enough to give some as gifts. So we have these nicely dried, crisp herbs. I'm going to break off the stem. Kind of what I like to do is hold the stem over a bowl and just use my fingers and pull downward. That will get a lot of the stem out. And then we're going to crunch up the leaves so that they are really nice and aromatic and broken up. Now, another option would be if you wanted to save these leaves whole and then crunch them right before you were going to use them. That's kind of the theory behind like whole black peppers that you grind. The initial flavor is most strong immediately after being broken up. So that would be another option. You would just have to have a larger jar for storing the herbs. So you can see here I have a pretty good amount going. I'm just going to crunch it up a little bit more. Some people really love a mortar and pestle, but I have found that my hands work just fine on most of it. And I really wish you were able to smell the amazing aroma coming off of this sage. It's just phenomenal. It's going to make a great addition to whatever you're cooking, but especially chicken or gravies or something like that. Now, full disclosure, I went to my local Walmart and they were like totally sold out on plain jars. I love mason jars and I seem to always buy a couple boxes every year. But these are kind of cute. They're jelly jars. They're about the right size, and that's really all I had available. And so you can see I'm getting quite a nice supply going, and so this should, fill it up pretty good. And then you could keep it in your cupboard or on your counter or give it as a gift. I have some lavender that I already did, again, 1 plant. And then I have oregano and rosemary I'm going to be working on later tonight. But you get the basic method here. And so I highly recommend growing your own herbs and try drying them. I will say that if you are in an area that doesn't like freeze really solid, sage would come back next year. So if you left some in the ground, you would be able to have the plant come back next year as a perennial. But I had mine in a garden, a raised garden, so it would have been cold on the bottom and freeze out. So if you're conscious about where you plant it, you can keep a lot of these garden herbs throughout the year. So I hope you're encouraged to get out there and grow some herbs and dry them. You can even buy herbs at the local farmer's market if you don't have any, if it's late in the season for you, and dry them yourself. So happy herbing, and get out there and enjoy some herbal goodness this fall. Thank you. Have a good evening.